Hello and welcome to the Cornea Impression. My name is Bhuvan and today with me I have the BMW 530i M Sport. This is the LCI. What that means is a fancy term used by BMW to call their mid-cycle facelifts. Now, there's not a lot that is changed from the pre-facelift car, but there are few bits and bobs here and there which you might notice. For example, the LCI car has a newly designed, a little more squarish headlight. It also has a redesigned tail light, and this being the M Sport version comes with a few of its own quirks as well. For example, there are tons of M badges all around the car. You have an M badge on each of the four wheels. You have M badges on the side panels. You also have a distinct rear and front M Sport bumper. Along with that, you also get these M Sport performance brake calipers, and on the inside you also get an M Sport steering. Along with the redesigned tail lights at the back over here, you also get these rhombus shaped twin tailpipes. Once again, being a BMW, both the tailpipes are actually connected to something and they are not fake. Now also with this LCI you get a few more things, like for example the laser BMW headlights that are there in the front as compared to the regular LED headlights that come on the standard model. Along with that also you have an active grille which opens up depending on where the car needs more air. There are also vents on the side which help in cooling the brakes. In general, this generation of 5 Series has a very nice low slung and kind of sporty side silhouette. Overall, the pre-facelift G30 itself was not a bad looking car, but these small minor upgrades here and there have kind of sharpened that car and its overall silhouette a little bit more. And on top of that, the M Sport package brings out a little more sportiness as well as a little more character to the car. That said though, one of the things that I feel is missing from the car and maybe should have been included is that this tailgate is not powered. You have to manually open it as well as manually close it. On the inside though, this 5 Series feels like a really nice place to be. The first thing you would realize is that the touchscreen infotainment unit has been upgraded from an earlier 10-inch screen to now a 12.3-inch unit. It's pretty massive and it sits very prominently in the center of the console. Along with that, you also have a very crisp instrument cluster. However, it is not one of my favorites because since BMW has changed their instrument cluster design and they have opted to go for a reverse tachometer, things are a little difficult to read and it does take a little time for you to acclimatize. That said, the display is very crisp and it gives you a lot of information at your fingertip. The rest of the cockpit gives very typical BMW vibes, where you have the classic radio buttons, below which you have a slightly more modernized climate control unit, which is a hybrid where you get both analog dials as well as a touchscreen to operate the thing. It also has a very intuitive menu button right in the center, which gives you quick access to a lot of your climate controls. Around you there are soft to the touch materials. They all feel very premium and very well put together. You have a really nice 16-speaker Harman Kardon system. Along with that, you have very comfortable and sporty seats which come with a ton of functions including seat memory, lumbar support as well as side bolstering. And you also have an option to extend the thigh support manually. The center console also is pretty standard BMW, where on the left side you have your trustworthy iDrive, you have the gear selector in the center, and you have the suspension as well as the engine settings on the right side. The iDrive still is one of my favorite and most intuitive systems to operate the infotainment. Most of the things are operated by a button, as well as the jog dial in the center makes scrolling and navigating through the menus really easy. On top of that, you also have a touch input pad which helps when you are entering phone numbers or names. In the center console, you also have two very generous cup holders along with a wireless charging pad. And one very good thing that BMW has done is they have included both USB-A as well as USB-C ports, so that if you have still got your old cable, it'll still work in this car. Now, the 5 Series in theory is a dual purpose car. What I mean by that is it's a car that can give you good driving pleasure, but at the same time, if you want to appoint a chauffeur and go sit in the back seats, that should be comfortable and a good experience as well. So now I'm going to quickly hop in the back seats and give you an experience of how it feels over there. Now, the first thing I noticed trying to get in the back seats of this car is that this is a massive door. Why? Because I actually hit myself in the stomach a couple of times while opening it. It's so big that actually getting in and out of the car is so easy and so convenient and so comfortable. Back here, it's a typical 5 Series experience. You have quite a ton of space. It's very comfortable. The seats are nice and flat, which means they give you very good support for under thigh. The driver's seat is currently set up according to my height, which is 5'8", and as you can see, I have a ton of legroom. I have also got no problem with the headroom. That said though, this car is best suited when traveling with 4 people because of that huge tunnel in the center and a slightly bottomed out roof. The 5th person who's sitting in the center might not be as comfortable as the rest 4 of you. Back here it feels spacious and comfortable, and it sort of feels like the place where you can sit for hundreds of kilometers in absolute comfort. Over here at the back you have dual zone climate control, which means in total this car has 4 climate zones. You also have 2 USB-C ports, 1 charging socket, and you've got air conditioning vents both in the center as well as on the pillars. Along with that, you also have manual blinds on both windows as well as behind you, which give you ample amount of privacy and also help a lot in blocking sunlight on a really sunny day. Did I mention the sound system in this car sounds absolutely amazing? Anyway, it's now time to take this car out and head out for a drive. I'm going to start driving the 530i in the normal comfort settings, and then progressively as the road gets tighter and the road gets more twistier, we will head into the sport mode. The first thing that you realize when you start driving the 530i is how comfortable and how refined this car is. In here, I really don't need to even talk at my normal volume when I'm speaking to the camera, to you guys. I can in fact whisper, and I'm still pretty sure that I'm going to be audible to all of you. That said though, the way this car isolates you from the outside is pretty spectacular. That is something you would expect from a 5 Series and a car in this particular class. That said though, being a BMW, you always feel or you always think that you'll be slightly on the edge, but that is not the case over here with the 5 Series. The steering in comfort setting is very light. It's very easy to maneuver out here on this road or in the city as well. And at the same time, the suspensions and the transmission are set up in such a way that the transmission makes sure that each and every gear shift is first of all very seamless and at the same time very smooth. The suspensions on the other hand feel very plush. They feel very well tuned, especially for our kind of roads where there are broken roads, there are potholes, there are cracks and ruts all over the place. Most of the times this car takes it easily. It's only those few really sharp bumps that actually make their way through, and they also are not as impactful as they could be in the 5 Series. You can easily imagine driving this car on a day-to-day basis and be very comfortable and very relaxed, either if you are the one who's driving or if it's your chauffeur who's driving as well. This is the kind of car where you would be sitting in heavy traffic with bad drivers all around you and not really bother or care about who's doing what, and completely eliminate that road rage aspect of everyday driving. Now, this being the 530i means that this has the B58 4-cylinder engine, which is then added with a turbocharger. Unfortunately, gone are those days when a 530i badge meant that you would get a naturally aspirated straight 6 under the bonnet, but now you have to make do with a 4-cylinder engine. That said though, power still is pretty decent at 252 horsepower. And this engine is mated to an 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox. The good part is that this is a very responsive engine, and even the smallest of gaps, you can just plop your foot down and do an overtake. No problems whatsoever. And this is still despite you are in comfort mode. Bad road, and big pothole. No problem, that wasn't so uncomfortable at all. Okay, now that we are approaching a nice twisty section of road, it's time to put the car in sport mode. In sport mode, you basically get 3 different options how you want to shift the transmission. Option A, let it do its own job in sport mode. Option number 2 is you either put it in triptonic and use the lever to do that. Option number 3 is use the pedals behind the wheel. To start off, I'm just going to let it do its own job and at the same time focus on driving and going slight bit faster. What has happened now is that the steering has become a lot more heavier. The suspensions have become a little more stiffer as well. But at the same time, neither the steering nor the suspensions are so stiff that you're gonna feel uncomfortable. It's not that. Although being a rear wheel drive, the best part is that I can feel the chassis move underneath. I can feel what the car is doing. This feels so precise in what it's doing despite not having a very connected steering despite not having the stiffest of suspensions, because it's a 5 Series. It, as I said earlier, wants to play two roles. First of it is being a driver's machine, but at the same time also being a car that gives you comfort and gives you that executive feel. And in that way, it's pretty balanced. Brakes solid, they feel solid, they stop solid, and then the gearbox instantly reacts to your right foot and gets the acceleration going right away. It's not super aggressive as you would probably imagine from a 3 Series, but at the same time it's fast. And it's a big car, so you do feel movement from left to right. It's not, as I said, the suspensions are not rock hard, so they are not here to just make sure that the car's body roll is fully eliminated, although it is, but it doesn't mean that the car is going to make you feel uncomfortable over sharp bumps. It still feels quite comfortable. It's like you're going fast and you're experiencing the performance of the car while still being in relative luxury. But my favorite feeling of driving this car a little bit fast is how well you can judge where the front wheels are and what they are doing when they are about to lose grip, when they are about to start pushing and start washing out, and when the car is telling you, all right, man, it's enough. And I guess this is the reason why so many people love BMWs, because they just make you feel so well connected to the road. And being a petrol BMW, it's not just the connectivity, it's also the fast, swift response time. Despite not having a naturally aspirated engine and having a turbocharger, it still feels great. So to sum it up, I think BMW has placed this car very accurately, at least in the context of how Indian pricing goes, because this car costs roughly about 64 lakhs. And that sort of sits bang in the middle, on one side where you have the M340i and on the other side where you have the 530d. Now, the difference between this and both those cars is that this is a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, while both of those cars are actually straight 6s. So in the end, it actually comes down to your preference and how much money you actually want to spend. Your preference being that if you are a kind of person who enjoys the length and the girth and the luxury and the features and the comfort of a 5 Series, then this car is great for you. But if you're someone like me who prefers having a much more sportier chassis, who prefers having a much more enthusiastic and much more exciting engine, then probably the M340i is not a bad option as well. And if you're someone who prefers diesel, then the 530d would actually be a banger of a car. This, the 530i though, holds a very nice sweet spot right in the middle. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.